Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Saturday. We save the quirky maps until the weekends, just for a little bit of a light relief from all the serious map making. Now, today's map is not a serious map. It's a scenario map, it's a fantasy map, it's a creative map. It's a very vanilla map. It's a map which is very clunky, but actually works for the effect that the creator was going for. I'm not going to tell you it's the most polished map I have ever seen. It really is not. But for what they were trying to achieve with 100% vanilla, I think they've done a very good job. So prepare yourself for a very good job. Hopefully a good job from me as well. That's right, me doing a good job hopefully gets you to hit the like button. That would really help me out. Thank you very much for your support. Today's map is What Remains. Not What Map, What Remains by BastuGubbar. BastuGubbar. Great name. Love it. Let's have a little look at that start square. There's a big old crater right there. And it does look rather messy for reasons that will become apparent. Terrain heights look like that. Okay, and what about the resources? Well, they are centered on 25 tiles. So, yeah, it was a vanilla creation. I would expect to see just this. Also, the trees are very light around the outside because of the 25 tiles. Fishing, if you happen to have Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing on this map, it's not too bad at all. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, I've just told you it's 100% vanilla. We'll be using the Vanilla Boreal theme, which actually works moderately well on this map, and the realistic 1.2 LUT, which isn't vanilla, but it's 100 times better than the vanilla option, so we'll go with that one instead. Very nicely written description there as well, setting you up for a little bit of a mystery tour. So I guess I should give you some kind of background story from the description. I'm not going to read verbatim, but long story short, the area has been hit by a catastrophe. Now, it doesn't tell us what the catastrophe is. It leads us to try and work out what it might be. I'm erring towards the idea that it was a meteorite strike. We have one big crater, lots of pot marks and smaller craters as well. So the meteorite has entered through the atmosphere, broken up a little bit and sort of like destroyed the area. Now, it's down to us to rebuild the area. Now, remember that this has been built 100% vanilla, so we haven't got the ability to use all sorts of clever little tricks with the highways when they're being broken, and we get some broken bridges later on. There is no way of doing a sharp edge on a broken bridge. So we have to leave a little bit of to the imagination. I'm sure we can leave a little bit to the imagination. We're all grown-ups, apart from one I can think of. Me. Never gonna grow up. Never. You can't make me. Anyway, so the highways are, apart from in the disaster zone, pretty reasonable. I can't complain about these. I've not seen any jinky jankies. They seem equidistant. And we have some bridges. We have Everybody Loves Big Old Bridge. It's elevated the ground level a little bit early there, causing a little bit of terrain glitch on the side, if we're going to be worried about that kind of thing on today's map. Big Old Bridge, that's actually not too bad. Not too bad. It's a bit wibbly. It could be a little bit more polished, but do you know what? I would settle for that. And we have an essential lighthouse as well. As the bridge comes down to ground, we've got a bit of a sharp drop there, but also you'll notice a lot of foliage. Now, if there were no vehicles, if this was part of the broken, yeah, a bit sharp there. If this was part of the broken highway with no vehicles on it, actually overgrown with, yeah, I would completely buy into that. Sadly, I can't let it go because we do have live traffic on it. Intersection here, that goes off in one direction. This carries on, which I think will go this way. Again, it's not the most polished, and we do have a bit of a lumpy bump going on with the off-ramp there. But it is what it is. it is what it is. Kind of does fit with the build as well, although you would imagine that the highway would have been built to a decent standard before disaster struck. They're not going to build a bad highway knowing there's a meteorite on the way, are they? Wouldn't have thought so. That would be some planning, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's build something that's going to completely collapse and look absolutely ridiculous. Yep, that would do. Anyway, we have a wishbone coming up. Oh, I do like a wishbone. Oh, I remember. Oh, this is... You know what? Sometimes out of absolutely nowhere, things throw you back to your childhood. Having spoken about not growing up, now I'm memorizing. I remember, I'm not memorizing anything. I don't need to memorize anything. I'm remembering things from Sunday lunch when Mum would go and roast a chicken and she'd come in to me and my sister with a wishbone. And we'd pull the wishbone, and it would be very sad if you lost, wouldn't it? It would be very sad if you lost. Still, anyway, my lovely sister, my lovely little sister, who can now beat me up. Well, she could beat me up when she was, I don't know, about 11, I imagine. Anyway, we are now looking at another wishbone. Another wishbone heading off. Now this goes through the forest, and when I say through the forest, it means literally through the forest. And again, I could let that off glitching through all those trees if it was a dead highway with nothing on it. I think we could probably, on this particular map, imagine that. Whereas over here, I mean, this seems to be dead highway, doesn't it? Actually, I don't know why we have no traffic over here. Oh, I know why we haven't got any traffic over here. Sorry, I'm forgetting. I recorded this footage yesterday and I've completely forgotten about where I am on the map. I thought I was on a different location. Yes, so heading off this way, we have the highways. Now there's a little bit of terrain issue going on at that bend there that can be smoothed out a little bit. And we have got a little bit of a wobble in the equidistance there on the bend. Again, on the map like this, I don't think we matter too much. We've got some terrain height issues over here that causes a bit of blue mantle, although we haven't actually got any direct blue mantle. See the strain on the texture on those two roads there, and that is just forcing a little bit of blue mantle to be visible from certain angles. So that's just a little something that actually for me that's a bigger problem than the trees on the road. It's so much so with things like that. Yeah, with this, it's just so jarring. Trees on the road, yeah, easily fix with a bulldozer, isn't it? Or move it, or both, both. Anyway, going into our next little livable area, and we have the broken up bridge. We are right actually by the meteorite crater, the main strike, and yes, this is just sort of an attempt to show a broken highway. And you can see something else a little bit different in the moment. That again is an attempt to show, I think, that the highway is crumbling at its edges in places as well. We've got 3 lanes here, and we oh, hang on, let me just show you. That is not high enough. Could that be the thing collapsing? I think it could be the thing collapsing. We'll let that go. And then, yeah, we go from 3 lanes down to 1 lane back up to 3. I think this is where it's indicating that the highway has crumbled a little bit on the edges. So, again, normally I will not let that go. Normally I'll not let that go. But over here, now, here we have trees growing through a dead highway. And over here, this is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable on this particular map with this particular backstory. That, for me, is the big difference. And trees on the road there. And probably I would have gone with some bushes along on those ones because yeah, a big old tree growing through the middle of the highway there does look a little bit awkward, but some smaller shrubs I think would be far more believable. And then we're heading off into the countryside. Now, having said everything, the topography on this map is actually quite pleasing. It is quite pleasing. You have a look. Yes, it does have that massive vanilla feel for reasons very obvious. We have a little stately home or something going on there. And a factory, everybody's favourite factory, anybody? Up that way. And then we have the river. And the river doesn't look displeasing. We have seen far worse rivers than this, proper gouges and stuff. And as rivers go, do you know what? I find this, as a vanilla map, in this location, quite nice. Now, anybody who's expecting me to say, ooh, it's a castle today, I'm not going to. I just have. Darn it. Fail. But yeah, in context, out of context, it kind of doesn't really work on today's map. I think this is start of a map water flow as well on the right hand side. I think it does sort itself out a little bit, although it's a bit bumpy. I didn't come back and check the rivers because actually on a disaster map it does feel like it's meant to be disastrous, and so yeah, maybe we've got a little bit, yeah, it does look a bit bumpy. I take that back, it doesn't sort itself out. That water will never sort itself out. Help.
Are you confused with the difference between a mod and an asset? And what's the deal between a theme and a LUT? Then you need BonBonB's Beginner's Guide to Mods, Assets, Themes, and LUTs. Click the information button now.
And so back to What Remains by BastuGubbar and the shipping routes. And we have a shipping route. Now watch this shipping route. Watch it. Watch it. Are you watching it? Are you watching it? Right angle turn. Boom. 2 right angle turns. Parallel entries into the bay, and then it loops around. And it has some spiky bits on it as well. There's some spiky bits there, and there, and there, and there. But yeah, if you want to make this into a harbour city, you can. And do you know what? I feel a complete rebuild, demolishing all of what remains, literally what remains. I think that could make for a pretty decent vanilla city in there, you know? I do. Oh, what about the water flow? Right, okay, well, we'll ignore that lumpy river. We'll have a look at water flow in the start square. It's a little bit light and a little bit awkward, but there is a bit of motion. Just a wee bit of motion. There's some over here as well pushing that way. So yes, if you play carefully, you'll be absolutely fine putting your sewage in there. So anyway, see about these little pot marks. I did tell you about the pot marks. The theme doesn't actually, even with the little patchwork kind of vibe on the theme, does kind of look like a disaster zone kind of a theme as well. Now we have the main crater over here, which, do you know what? I like that shape. That is genuinely quite impressive in terms of meteorite strikes. And have a look at all the trees and the poles, the way that they are all angled away from the impact crater. That is a nice little nod that could easily have been left, and by many creators wouldn't even have thought about it. So I'm gonna give credit for that. Now there are lots of little areas, like over here we have everybody's favourite factory, and then that links down to that what looks like a stately home area over there. Then we have the what I think this is an airport. We have a defensive line around the airport as well to defend it, but looking at the shape of the roads there, and it's not connected, I think that's a nod to an airport in there. Again, 100% vanilla assets, so there we are. And if we come down here, I think this is also an old airport. Again, I think, probably. It looks like it is. It looks like it must be. So we got all of that. Then you've got we've got some flooding. We've got some drowned trees because of the drowned cemetery there. And there's a lot of cemeteries. There's a lot of people that have died here. And a big old city, which when it's been made with these castle units, do you know what? It kind of works. It kind of works. Just as a splash aesthetic. We've even got docks, which I can't believe I'm going to say this. Given what we're trying to achieve here, this is about as good as anybody was going to do. It's eroded away. We've got smashed up ships along the side. I'm completely in on that. Completely in on that. Right, what more? What more? What more? Have we got anything that I've missed? I'm sure there is. I'm just scanning across for things I might have. Do you know what? I think we can head to the start square at this point. I think we can do that. Because, well, we've got an asset of the day, and it's round. This is nice. This is Palms time. This is a real life structure. I was going to say building, but a real life monument in Bangkok, Thailand. The Democracy Monument, followed by loads of squiggles, which basically I'm sure it just means Thai. It's in Thai and it means Democracy Monument. By Palms time. Palms time is just such a good creator, aren't they? Such a good creator. Shall we do factoids? Because while we're here, we may as well. By the time you have heard this sentence, it says here read, but I'm doing the reading, you're doing the listening. By the time you have heard this sentence, you will have been bombarded by air molecules more than 100 billion times. Those air molecules, they just don't care about you, do they? They just bombard you from every single angle. I wonder if there's more bombardment if it's windy than if it's in a still room. That's a technicality for you, isn't it? It's like, do you get more wet when it's raining if you run? I've seen the answer to that one, by the way. Democracy Monument by Palms Time, today's asset of the day. And so back to What Remains by BastuGubbar. BastuGubbar. I love that. Love that. Don't have to say bar very often. Gubbar. Anyway, Gubbar. BastuGubbar even. Gubbar? Help. Anyway, what do you think of today's map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? He's on loop. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. But what do I think about it? Well, do you know what? All told, given we are working with vanilla and deliberately trying to make a messy job, but keeping it aesthetic at the same time, do you know what? I think they've achieved that. I think they've achieved it. I can't give it 4 stars. I want to, but I can't. But I think all the credit is there, so I'm going to go high 3. It's not a 4-star map, but it's a really good shot at what they were going for. Detailing on the whole is pretty good, but I'm going to have to argue against the trees on the live highways. So I can't go to 4 stars. I'm going to go for a medium high 3. Gameplay potential. Now, this is a tough one. I think basically for what it's trying to achieve, it works fine. I don't think it would work for anything else. As it works fine, I can go 3 stars. It doesn't feel really excitingly playable, so I can't go to the 4th. So 3's down the middle on that one. What Remains by BastuGubbar. When my R's. My R's are getting all wobbly. Oh, nobody likes the wobbly R's, do they? Anyway, BastuGubbar. You'd think I'd be able to read something in English as simple as that, wouldn't you? Even though, anyway, let's not go there. Thank you very much for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. Patreon list will be updated on Monday to include all the people that have signed up for March. If you want to be one of them, head on over to patreon.com/BonBonB, and for just $1, you'll get your name onto that list too. And I'll be back on Monday with more What Map. Thanks for watching.